So let's go ahead and just copy and paste that down and modify each one accordingly. So we don't need to change the emoticon class, they all belong to the same class. We'll do a sad face and a wide smile. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and refresh the page, and we see we've got these 3 buttons which are all clickable. Now we've completely done the front end of things with regards to the HTML that's displayed, but inside ext.js, which I've also included on my page, obviously in addition to jQuery, is how we're going to handle the clicking of each button and the placement of it inside the comment area. So inside ext.js or x.js, this is where we're going to write out our jQuery code. So the first thing that we want to go ahead and do is actually wait for jQuery or the document to be ready, and this is when the DOM is accessible and it's been initiated or initialized. So we use document here and then .ready, that's just I guess an event onto this selector here, and then we run this function and the contents of inside of it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do once we've loaded our document and it's ready, we want to go ahead and assign an event handler to each emoticon class, or each element that's associated with this particular class. So what we do is we go ahead and use a selector, and we use a dot for the class name, and then we write emoticon, yeah. Then we assign an event handler, and this is click. Obviously with the buttons that we have, we go ahead and actually click on them, so that's the event handler that's handling that. And then inside we have a callback function as well, and then inside of this is the code that's going to run when we actually click on one of these buttons. Now we need to find a way to first of all get the value of the text area so we can append this particular value onto it. For example, when we click this, we're going to receive the value attribute, which is a colon and then an ending parenthesis. Same with this, a colon and a starting parenthesis, and this and a D. So we want to grab the particular value associated with that, as well as the value of the text area. So we need 2 variables. The first one is text area val, and the second one is emoticon val. And we are going to, for the text area val, is quite simple. We want to go ahead and just reference the comment area, or use a selector to select the comment area, and then use val to obtain the value, and that's the value in between this text area here, so here, and that's everything that the user would have typed in that session. So let's go ahead and grab the emoticon value. So once we press a button, we need to find out first of all we don't need to find out which button has been pressed, but we want to only grab the value of this for the button that's been pressed. So we need to go ahead and reference, we don't actually, this is the way that we would usually do it, emoticon.attribute, and you take the value attribute from there, and the value attribute, remember, is here. So it essentially takes this value that you're first of all displaying to the user, and now we're grabbing it. However, what this selector does is it selects all elements on the page with the emoticon class. So what we're actually doing here is we're selecting a smiley face, a sad face, and then a wide mouth face. So we don't want to use this, but this we want to, instead we want to use this, and this means that whichever emoticon is clicked, we get the attribute associated with the currently clicked element. So we can go ahead now and just alert these out in turn to check that we've got the everything correct. So I'm going to go ahead and alert text area val, and then I'm also going to go ahead and alert emoticon val. So essentially what I'm going to do now is refresh. I'm going to type something in here, so something in here, and I'm going to go ahead and click this smiley face. The first thing we should see is the contents of this text area, and the second thing we should see is the smiley face, and we'll do the same for the sad and the massively happy face as well. So something in here, we've correctly retrieved the value of this text area, and now you see that we've got a smiley face, and we press OK, and that's it. Press the sad face, the text area value, and then a sad face, and then last but not least, something in here, and then the massively happy face. So now that we've done that, we know that what we can do is we can append this emoticon value onto this text area value, i.e. at the end of it, and then we can go ahead and substitute the conjoined values, so text area then emoticon, we can place that back in the text area. So what we want to do is we want to say comment in here, so that's the div that we're referencing, or the text area that we're referencing, and we want to say val, and then we can place a particular value in here. For example, test. This will just place, if we click in here, that will just place test in here. Now what we want to do is when we click a button, we want to grab the text area value, append a smiley face to the end of it, and then we'll go ahead and then re-put this back in. So essentially what we'd do is if we type something, when we click the smiley face, this would create the temporary contents as this, and then it would remove the contents before that and just place this back in. So hopefully that makes sense. It's simpler than it sounds, and definitely simpler than I've explained it. So the value that we want to put in is obviously the text area val, and then we want to append on a space and then the emoticon val. So we're just re-putting this text area value back into the box. Val will actually remove all content and then just re-put this content in. If we were to use something like append, it would act, I guess, in the same way, but in this case we're using val. And then after that as well, we'd want another space, and we're going to deal with these spaces in just a moment, because remember at the start of the tutorial I mentioned that we don't want to add a space if there's no contents inside. So let's go and have a look at this and see what we have. If we go ahead and type in hello and click the smiley face, you see that we get a smiley face with a space here and a space here.